ahead and get started by introducing President Brian Grigsby. President Grigsby came to Moravian in 2013 and is not only an alumnus from the class of 1990, but is also a current parent. His leadership has guided Moravian to new heights, and we are grateful that he can join us tonight. President Grigsby?
Thanks. One of the first things you always got to remember is to unmute yourself as you begin these topics. So we're really excited to be welcoming the class of 2024 into Moravian College and joining the other classes that are there. This is going to be a much different year. And after we completed the last academic term and started the next week, we started preparing for the incoming class. The senior staff has been working every day to figure out ways for your children to be safe on campus. Things are going to be different, but particularly for the class of 2024, they don't have a college experience. So I'd remind you that this is their college experience. It may not be like my experience was in 1990. It may not be like my daughter's experience, but it is their experience. And I think the greatest thing a parent can do is support their child through this experience. It will be their own. We ask that you encourage them to practice good social distancing, wear their masks, wash their hands regularly, do all those things, because we're now down to human behavior. We have done everything we can to make the campus as safe as possible. We have taken steps to make sure the classrooms have smaller numbers in them, and some classes are online. We have stairwells that are for entry and stairwells that are for exits. We have hand sanitizers. We are spraying the air and the desk. We are having outdoor eating areas. So we believe we have done everything we can to make this campus truly a safe place. We now need everybody's support in the human behavior that will allow us to continue with as few cases of COVID-19 as possible. I regularly say at these rallies that the strongest encouragement I can give to parents is to encourage their students to explore new majors, new programs. If they are having a problem, to turn them back to their advisors or the administrators here. I've probably told many parents that when I went to Moravian, I had 5 different majors. I was a physics major, and then a math major, and then a computer science major, and then a criminal justice major for a very brief time, and then an English major. If you had spoken to me when I was a high school senior and said that I would have 3 degrees in English, I would have told you you're nuts. That was the last thing I thought about. But both my parents are high school teachers, and they regularly said, well, have you spoken to your advisor? Have you spoken to the vice president of student life? What advice are they giving? Have you spoken to your faculty member? And if they say yes, here's a great little parenting tip. Ask them what they said. Because sometimes they don't always tell the truth that they've gone to the faculty member's office. And asking them what the faculty member said may spur the, oh, well, I was uncomfortable, I didn't want to do that. So try as best you can to turn your student back to us and have them be an advocate for themselves. Have them express their concerns, their feelings, their their desires for a career, whether this major makes sense, can they do this major? All those things are important as you help navigate this time. I know Nicole Lloyd's parenting class goes through a lot of that, so I won't do any more than say, just work with us and we can have lots of success. We've been doing this for over 275 years, so we're pretty attuned at how to help students mature between the wonderful ages of 18 to 22. With that, I am going to turn it over to our Chief Academic Officer, Provost Cynthia Coso, and she can talk about the academic offerings.
And also, I can tell you that after this year, I feel like we have been doing this for about 275 years personally. So let me tell you just a tiny bit about what I do as Provost and Dean of Faculty. Then I also have some advice that I'd like to give as Brian did. And my main task is to oversee the academic enterprise. And so I oversee the faculty, the academic leadership, the curriculum, student success on the academic side, courses and scheduling, academic integrity, the academic calendar, other things as well. But those are the big things that you'd be perhaps most interested in. So the Office of the Provost and the leadership team there is the place where your students should come if they're having any kind of academic issues, if they're having any problems, if they're having any, if they have questions about, what they might want to do, if they, need to change an advisor or get an advisor, we're there to help them out, whatever their specific question or need is. We have somebody whose specific task it is to help them achieve that. I want to say what I didn't get to say as much in our matriculation. So some of you parents that were at matriculations in past years heard me say this, but I want to take this opportunity to say it again. And that is, if you encourage your students to do anything, encourage them to go to class. Whether it's an online class or a hybrid class or a face-to-face class, it's really critical that students go to class. Encourage them to ask questions, not to be afraid to ask questions, and also not to be afraid to fear failure. We all fail at some point in our lives, and that's the place where you really do some of the best learning. I also encourage you to encourage them to ask for help when they need it. Everybody needs help sometimes, and we've got so many people here that are just anxious to help you and help your students that I hope you can encourage them to do that. And as Brian said, you need to encourage your students to get to know their professors, to go to office hours, whether they're virtual office hours or in-person office hours. Getting to know their professors has long-term benefit for students. I think everybody on this panel that has any academic experience is still writing letters for students that they had 20 years ago or more in my case. I still connect with the students that I had as undergraduates. They're still off doing stuff, pursuing careers, and I'm still helping them in that way. Getting to know your professors as a student can be a lifelong benefit to you. So I really would like to encourage that. I'd like to encourage that. In terms of the courses that we have to offer, about 45% of them are online this semester for all the reasons that you already know. About a quarter of them, of the remaining ones are hybrid, so that's partly online and partly face-to-face, and then the rest are face-to-face. Everybody, of course, is prepared to go online if we need to, and we're hoping that we don't need to. But a lot of that will, in fact, depend on the behavior of our students on campus. And that's, of course, another place where we can really use your help. I know others will be talking about that in more detail than I will. I know also that folks had questions, and Amanda, I wasn't quite sure about the process for answering the questions. That there was a list of questions that were that we saw, whether that's something that we do at the end, but I am prepared to answer the questions that were in the list that we were sent before the panel started. But with that, I will turn it over to Nicole Lloyd.
Hi, everyone. Good to be spending some time with you here tonight. My remarks I'll keep brief because you're going to hear from many of the team in student life in the different areas that are probably front of mind right now, top of mind, regarding housing and dining and counseling and athletics and those things. But I think that the one message I want to make sure that you know is we've got this. We have been spending countless hours every single day this summer trying to figure out how we keep the core of what is the Moravian College experience, and that is engagement and community, in everything that we continue to do, even in this COVID world. And so it may look a little different, but we are figuring out ways to have that engagement be alive and center to everything that we're doing. So know that, yep, the experience might look a little different, but the core of what we're trying to provide will always be the same. And so students can know that they're going to find an engaged and active community back on campus this fall, and we're ready. So with that, I am going to kick it off to Stephanie, our leader in our health center, and thank goodness for Stephanie, particularly right now in our COVID world. So Steph.
Hi, everybody. My name's Stephanie Dillman. I'm the coordinator of the health center here at Moravian. The health center is run by St. Luke's, so we are St. Luke's affiliated. All the employees of the health center are St. Luke's employees, and we are contracted to cover the health center here. With that being said, we really act like we're Moravian employees. We just happen to get paid by St. Luke's. So just so you know, we're in it for these students. It's been a very busy summer. I think we're pretty darn close to being ready. A couple little minor things we're working on. We will be doing appointments for our all of our visits to the health center this year. We're not going to be doing walk-ins, but appointments could be as, call us 5 minutes before and come in depending on how busy we are. We will be doing testing on site for symptomatic patients, and we'll be able to have a result for that in less than an hour. That is key to us keeping our campus as safe as possible. We'll be doing, one of the ways we're going to catch folks who are symptomatic is a daily symptom survey. That'll be launched very soon, and that will go to faculty, staff, and all students. And that will rely on them telling us the truth when we ask them if they have any symptoms. If they do answer that they're symptoms, then we're going to ask them to stay at home, stay in their dorm space, and wait until we speak to them before we clear them to come to campus. If we have someone that we think needs to be tested, then we'll make an appointment, have them come to the health center for testing, and send them back to their space until we have a test result. We do have isolation housing prepared for them, so if someone has a positive test, we'll be moving them to the isolation housing. We will provide food for them in the isolation housing. I promise we will not let them go hungry. That's all been figured out, how we're going to do contactless food deliveries, how they'll order. They'll have some choice in what they get. It won't be the same as they get at a restaurant, but neither is my house. But they'll get a choice. The cleaning that's being done is amazing. The stuff that facilities has done to get the campus ready. I think I just need to reinforce that the students will need to be very active in this role. They have to pay attention. They have to wear their masks. They have to be socially distant, and they have to pay attention. If they're going to be a large gathering, they can gather to the amounts that our governor allows us to gather, but they need to make sure they're still staying socially distant and wearing their masks. That's going to be what's going to protect them. We have chosen to not do the testing before students arrive, because the testing that's done as an asymptomatic person is accurate for that day only. So we could test 2,000 students, but the test would be good for that day only. So it wouldn't tell you if they're good when they finally come to campus 2, 3, 4, 5 days later. That's the reason we talk to our infectious disease doctors. President Grigsby's been on the phone with them and has done some Zoom calls with them, and that was a decision made by the college, and I am 100% behind, and so are the infectious disease docs. Please feel free to put some questions in the Q&A if you have questions for me. And Amanda, I have no idea who I'm going to next. Everybody else seemed to know who we're sending to.
I think I'll speak up because there's a bunch of questions about testing and back what you were saying, and then we'll send it to Liz. So the CDC does not recommend universal testing. The Department of Health does not recommend universal testing. And the doctor who's in charge of infectious diseases for St. Luke's University Health Network, who I might add, the hospital has the #1 rating for COVID related infections and dealing with those in the country, does not recommend them for absolutely the reason Steffi was saying, is that in 24 hours, it doesn't matter. So we've been bringing students in phases, and we brought 500 students. We've had 500 students on campus since June 1st. And as we brought more and more students back, if we were doing testing on them, it's only good for 1 day. So the testing that we will do is when there's symptoms, and if we get the opportunity to play sports, we can do testing that day through pool testing before they go out and play. But other than that, it's not an effective way to manage COVID-19 coming from all the experts, CDC and Department of Health and PA, and from our infectious disease doctors at St. Luke's. So with that, I will hand it off to Liz. I see other questions and answers coming in, but I will hand it off to Liz Yates, the Associate Dean of Students.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Like President Grigsby said, my name is Liz Yates. I serve as the Associate Dean of Students, and I have the honor of overseeing our housing operation, Residence Life, and our phenomenal Residence Life staff, our new student orientation program that'll happen this weekend, and also our fraternity and sorority community on campus. So housing has been at the top of many students' lists. We have welcomed back about 40% of our returning students. Many of you probably know that we offer this drop off and go opportunity. Our returning students this past weekend were phenomenal at following the expectations we outlined, utilizing the time blocks provided, physical distancing, masking, so thank you to all the families that participated this past weekend. Tomorrow morning, in less than 12 hours, we will start drop off and go for the first members of the class of 2024. And they will be dropping off and going tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday morning. Once your student participates in drop off and go, the returning students, the upperclassmen, are welcome to come back after 12 noon on Sunday, the 23rd. At that time, we anticipate all of the families will have come in, helped their student, and departed. If you have an incoming first-year student and you're dropping off their things tomorrow, they should come back on Friday afternoon between 1 and 4. When they come back on Friday afternoon, we ask that you don't go back into the residence halls with them. So our residence hall guidelines that we share do indicate that families and non-students, students who do not live in that hall, other students, only the residents are permitted in the hall. Families are only allowed during the move-in and move-out process. So we do have opportunities for our newest families to engage with us during orientation. The biggest opportunity will be on Thursday evening, our matriculation ceremony. And that's really the beginning of the academic year, the kickoff to the academic year. We would encourage our families, all of our families, to log into our Moravian College Facebook page and watch our matriculation ceremony as a family before our newest members come on Friday afternoon. Orientation will begin Friday afternoon for our students. We have worked really hard this summer to maintain so many of our orientation traditions for the students. But primary, we will be physically distancing them. We will be expecting them to wear masks and appropriately engage in our activities. But we're also maintaining that student experience throughout the weekend. This is their opportunity to start to connect with each other, encourage them to participate, and encourage them to participate appropriately. I've noticed that some of you submitted questions earlier about housing. Some of the big questions we're getting is, if my student's roommate doesn't return to residence, they decide to commute or have decided that they want to move into a single, is my student going to get a random roommate? Your student is not going to get a random roommate this year. If a student is left behind because their roommate has opted for another housing assignment, that student will be by themselves this fall. If they have someone they want to pull in, great. But we want to respect that students need to feel really comfortable in their living environment. And for some students, having a roommate is really comfortable. That's their person. They want to be with someone. That's the experience they're looking for. We're fully respecting that. We have other students who have opted for a single. We've been able to accommodate all of those student requests as well. A few weeks ago, we shared our residence hall guidelines with our students. They are in phases. We shared with the students we are opening in phase A. That is the most restrictive phase, which essentially says to the student, only you and if you have a roommate are permitted in your room. You're not allowed to be in each other's spaces. We encourage you to gather outside or in other common areas. The reason why we chose to open in that most restrictive phase was to protect our community as we get started on this journey, to see how everything goes, to see the students begin to form their patterns and their behaviors and to understand the expectations. We do plan to assess a few weeks into the semester in mid to late September if we can transition to a different phase. But we need to understand how our community is responding once everyone is back on campus. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the call tonight. Dining services is prepared. We've been preparing. We have not left, actually. We've been here since March, working hard and getting ready for the new normal for our students. We recognize that this will be a big transition, especially for our returning students, but also for our first year students that are coming to Moravian for their first year. With that, we are going to be patient. We're going to help, and we're going to try to communicate as best we can to help our first year students and even our returning students. We have some pages out on Facebook, as well as our dining services page that we can share, and I'm going to share on the call today. So this way, if you need to go in and look to see what exactly we're doing to show about physical distancing, helping with mitigation in our dining locations, meal plan information, everything that we've been working on, want to share with you and how we're phasing our approach as we reopen. I'm here throughout the call to answer any questions that you may have and look forward to them. Thank you. Mary Beth?
Hello, everybody. Mary Beth Spurk. I'm the athletic director and women's basketball coach, and it's a pleasure to be here. And like everyone else, we've been working hard this summer, trying to figure this all out as well. We know how disappointed our spring athletes were to lose their season, and we understand how hard it is for the fall sports. Currently, right now, we are not competing in any landmark or centennial conference games. I don't think anybody in Division III in terms of NCAA games till we'll wait, hopefully January 1st. Landmark Conference and Centennial are both working on potentially winter scheduled to go as planned starting in January, and fall schedule hopefully in the spring, and spring schedule to go hopefully in the spring as well. So I know there are a couple questions about practice, and currently we are working on a tentative practice plan, and we're going to break all the sports into sessions. So half the sports will be practicing for 6 weeks, and the other half for the other 6 weeks for the semester. And we are not starting anything for 2 weeks to acclimate and get everybody adjusted. And then, similar to what we're doing as an institution, we will make sure everybody's filling out, their health questionnaire. And we are potentially, like Dr. Grigsby said, looking at some potential, pod testing, pool testing, and hopefully do the best we can in terms of staying safe and practicing masking, social distance, and working, together. And we hope we'll be playing. We have brand new bleachers in Johnson Hall, so we hope we can fill them come the spring. And I am turning it back to Allison as the Director of Counseling. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Allison Blechschmidt. As Mary Beth said, I'm the Director of the Counseling Center. Welcome. We're excited to see students back. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we offer, but please look at our portion of the website. We have a lot of information out there because I know you're getting a lot of information here. So we offer individual therapy. In addition to me, we have 3 other full-time therapists as well as 2 doctoral students this year that will be working in the counseling center, and we're excited to have them. They're going to be a great addition. We offer individual therapy, but we also offer a lot of other stuff that students can get involved in terms of mental wellness activities, de-stressing activities. So please encourage your student to check out our social media, our website. We post it everywhere so they can find out what's going on. If you're concerned about your student, encourage them to reach out to us. No issue is too small. We will help them find the right resources if it's not us. So we are here and ready to help them. We're open business hours 8 to 4:30. Your student can email or call us. Right now, we're offering virtual sessions to start the semester. Depending on how things go, we hope to kind of get back to some in-person sessions or maybe some outdoor sessions. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to email the Counseling Center and we'll happily answer your questions. I think that's it. And I think Rick is up next. He is our Chief of Police.
There we go. Good evening. My name is Rick Blake. I'm the Chief of Police here at Moravian College. We are a full police department. We have 13 full-time officers, 2 part-time officers, 3 full-time dispatchers, and 6 part-time dispatchers. We operate 24/7. We respond to all calls of service on campus. We monitor all fire alarms, all alarms in general. We monitor over 191 video feeds throughout campus, in addition to 74 plus blue light emergency phones, which dial directly into our dispatch center. Again, we're a fully functioning police department, and we encourage students or parents, please, to reach out to us if they have any needs or concerns. Again, we're 24/7, so we're easy to get a hold of, and people can also directly email me, and I always return my emails. And I guess next on the list, I am introducing Allison.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Remsing. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Recruitment at Moravian College, and I am also a proud alum of the class of 2003. On behalf of the entire enrollment management staff, I wanted to say it's been such a pleasure working with you and your students throughout this past year. On a normal year, we would have hosted you on campus for many events and really gotten to know you in person. And I truly look forward to when we're able to do that in the near future. As you might have picked up this evening, Moravian is a very tight-knit community, and we really envision that in the admissions office. So that's why we really like to get to know your students and have those conversations with them throughout the recruitment process. But recruitment is not something that is done just by the admissions counselors. Here at Moravian, We rely on the administration, faculty, staff, alumni, current students, and the parents of current students to help us spread the word about everything that Moravian College can offer students. Earlier this year, before all of the COVID thing happened, I partnered with my colleagues in the Office of Alumni and Parent Engagement, and we developed what we're calling MAP. And MAP stands for Moravian Alumni and Parent Program. And that acronym stands for exactly what we want the program to be. We want this program to put Moravian College on the map. This program offers parents of current students the chance to assist the college with recruitment in so many valuable ways, including going to college fairs, which that might be a little bit different this year, mixing and mingling at our on-campus events, participating in postcard writing campaigns, and also participating in telecounseling campaigns. So there really is something for everyone. These activities really prove to be very impactful in the recruitment process. So if you're interested in volunteering for MAP, please fill out the interest form. You can find it on our website underneath the Alumni tab. And just think, next year at this time, there might be students out there gearing up for orientation that you were involved with. You really can make a difference. So thank you so much for your time tonight. Amanda, Jessica, and Justin.
Thank you all so much for sharing so much information with all of our parents tonight. If anybody does have questions, go ahead and continue to submit them in the Q&A. We have, most of them have gotten answered already, but we do have a couple extras that I want to ask. So Cynthia, one that came in kind of on the academic side is if you can talk to a little bit about, education majors that might have field experience or nursing majors that have clinical. Is that going to look differently? Do we still not know exactly what that's going to look like? Cynthia, I think you might be muted. Can you just undo that?
Classic Zoom move. Yes. There are some unknowns still, but we do know that almost all student teaching with public school districts around us will have to be virtual. We've been working really closely with Dr. Silva from BASD, and last week we met with him, this week we met with him, and it looks like there's going to be a number of student teaching possibilities. The student teacher would be assigned to a cooperating teacher under these circumstances and conduct all the teaching and observations as in the past. However, they would do it in some online format, which is great. In fact, a lot of the teachers themselves are learning, the secondary ed teachers and elementary and secondary ed teachers are learning the online techniques themselves, so the students can really help them as well. There may be one district that will allow some in-person student teaching, possibly in Allentown, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. But we're working on a variety of things in order to give the students the opportunity that they need in order to get student teaching under their belt.
Thank you. And Liz, a question that came in for you, I don't know if everybody got to see the response to it, but about the orientation weekend schedule. Will that just be Friday, or is that throughout the whole entire weekend? And then also about Greek recruitment, and what does that look like this year?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't talk more about orientation. I've been so focused on housing and everything that's happening in our housing operations and all the questions we've been getting there. New student orientation begins Friday evening and it lasts through Sunday evening. It's designed for both our resident and commuter students. So we hope to see all of our members of the class of 2024 participating for those 3 days. Regarding our fraternity and sorority communities and the opportunity to affiliate with them, our incoming students have the opportunity the second semester of their first year to go through our recruitment process. There has been a lot of discussion and planning happening within the fraternity and sorority communities across the country about best practices in COVID world regarding recruitment. I've been keeping a pulse on that and seeing what a lot of campuses that have a fall recruitment will be doing, lessons learned from that, and we'll be planning throughout the fall semester and launching that opportunity in January. Much of the guidance is leading towards virtual recruitment options.
Thank you, Liz. Another academic focused question about half credit classes, and will any of those be offered in the fall like they have been previously?
Yes, we do plan some half unit classes in the fall, so second 8 weeks. You'll start seeing those available in a few weeks.
Okay. Cynthia, also similar for you about clinicals for nursing students. Is this, something that just is for freshmen? Does this go out throughout all of the years, and kind of what does that look like?
The clinicals are a critical part of the nursing program, and so the School of Nursing organizes those. Right now, we are still able to do clinicals. It's a little bit different than the secondary ed or the education situation because hospitals are still working and whatnot. We're being very careful about the clinicals, and those really depend on St. Luke's, for example, Lehigh Valley Health Network, and other places. And so far, they are allowing our students to do clinicals. We have other options for clinicals as well that are not in hospital settings. And right at the moment, we are able to do those. Stay tuned, with COVID. But
thank you. Yes. It looks like those are all the questions that have come in. Oh, wait, there might be one more. If we end up going completely virtual at any time, how will that affect classes that require labs?
Many of the faculty right now are working and have been working all summer long on trying to figure out ways to do labs online. And some have come up with some options online. If there are circumstances where the lab is simply impossible unless it's in person, what we'll probably end up doing is postponing the lab part of that in-person part of it until next semester, the spring semester, when hopefully vaccines are available and we might be able to have more human interaction. Our hope is, though, that we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this work.
Thanks, Cynthia. Liz, a question for you about drop-off, and what does that look like for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Are the parents actually able to help them set it up, or are they literally just putting it down in the room?
So our returning students were given 2-hour blocks, and we asked that they came by themselves when possible. But our first-year students, you're given a 3-hour block. We recognize that this is an important moment for you and for your student in their experience in higher education. 3 hours, it's not time to unpack every single item, but we want you to be able to make their bed and help them start to settle in, take the photos that you need. We want you to be able to have that experience. That is what we're looking to provide. You have the full 3-hour block. When you arrive to campus, you'll pull up in front of the hub. Our staff will be out there to greet you. If you have any outstanding tasks that need to be done, if your student hasn't had their student ID photo taken, we'll do all of that before they proceed to the residence hall. At the residence hall, our student leaders will greet you. Our campus police staff will help you to direct you where to park your car, and then you'll have that time to unload the car, to settle in, to take the photographs. And we ask, be respectful of everyone and their time. So if your time ends at 10 a.m., please head off campus by the end of your time slot.
Thanks, Liz. A health center question about what type of testing will we be doing? Is it the nasal or saliva?
The swabs we're doing here at the health center, thankfully, are just a nasal swab. So it just goes in just into the nose. It's not the nasopharyngeal swab, which is the gross one that goes all the way back. It just goes into the nose. It has to be in there for 5 to 10 seconds on one side and then 5 to 10 seconds on the other side. We do have permission to have the student can do it themselves if they're more comfortable with that. And then we put it in our little machine and we have a result in an hour.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. A dining question, Kristen, for you. Is it to go or buffet style still?
A great question. Everything is going to be in a single service container to take. So as President Grigsby had shared on the last question as an answer, 50% capacity currently in all the dining facilities is what we're going to be having. And we've actually reduced the seating. So once those seats are filled, there'll be plenty of also seating outside under tents as well. Typically the fall semester is nice, September, October. So we're excited that we'll have the tents outside for our students as well. Students can then also decide to, based on their comfort level, if they even don't want to eat inside, maybe they want to go back to their room. So it really depends on what they're feeling and what they want to do.
Thanks, Kristen. Another question, kind of health center related, about flu shots.
Flu shots, it's my favorite time of year normally, not when it's COVID, but we are working to try to get, human resources working, trying to get some pharmacies, if they're willing to come onto campus to give flu shots to students, faculty, staff. If you have the opportunity to get your student a flu shot now, feel free. I have not seen them at any pharmacies yet. We are going to strongly encourage them. We get a very small supply here at the health center from the hospitals, but we're dependent on when the hospital gives that to us. So that's usually not until, unfortunately, October that we get those. And we have to immunize our clinical students first, and then we would be able to offer them to any of the other students.
Thank you, Stephanie. Mary Beth, just a clarification about fall practices, that they're going to last 6 weeks, and then also a question about gym facilities and how is that going to be regulated for team workouts?
Yeah, good question. We have that all scheduled. We figured that out actually this morning with our strength and conditioning coaches, and the teams will be in their pods, and so we'll know who's going to be working out at certain times. Some of your sons and daughters may be getting up a little bit early to get their workouts in, but we are going to regulate it. And for those that we're going to have some float lifts. Again, they're going to be signed up, and we're going to regulate them so we know exactly. It's not going to be, you could go kind of whenever you want to. So we're going to be pretty stringent about that, and regulate it. So, and obviously we're going to have time between workouts. Actually, for most of September and October, a lot of the workouts are just going to be outside on Mac Field. So we're going to limit the amount in and weight training.
Thank you, Mary Beth. All right. I think those are all the questions that have come in. For anybody that has additional ones that we haven't gotten to answer, feel free to, again, send those to that email account. It's families@moravian.edu, or if you happen to find Jess, Justin, or I, you're able to send it there. I'm going to turn it over to Jess real quick, and she is going to wrap up for the evening.
So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I really hope that you enjoyed hearing from all of our great campus partners and you're feeling even more prepared and excited for this academic year. Our goal was really for you to get to know our leadership and our parent engagement team. And just so you know, there's always someone on campus you can reach out to. And we'll send along an email with Amanda, Justin, and my contact information. And within that email, we'll also include a short survey just to get your feedback about this evening. And we'll also send along that fun QR code for the new parents class. So if you missed it in the beginning, you can go ahead and sign up once you get that email. And for those of you who would like to join a breakout room, you should have received an additional Zoom link in your confirmation email. And if you did not and you'd like to join us, we'll put those links right in the chat for everybody and we'll get started. So again, thank you, everybody, and we're looking forward to getting to know all of you.